Okay, good evening. Welcome to
Math for Kids number 127.
We actually have some people watching our little video today. Who are
hamsters.
they? Some hamsters. That's fun. All right, well, today we're going to learn about the probability of getting a pair, and by that I mean one single pair and no other matches in 5-card poker. So in other words, I deal out 5 cards.
Jack suited. Oh.
And I get exactly one pair. Boy, we've had a lot of luck with our cards, haven't we? So here I have a pair of jacks. This is exactly what we're trying to get. Okay, so we actually have to do, a fair amount of work for this to figure it out. And maybe we'll do part of it today and part of it tomorrow. Okay? So, first of all, what's the first thing you have to do? If you want exactly one pair in your hand, what would be would you guess the first thing you have to figure out?
What's the probability of getting one pair in 5 cards?
Well, that's what we're going to figure out. But the first thing you have to figure out is which cards you want to be your pair. Okay? Right? So in this case, our pair was jacks. But how many different types of cards do we have to choose from?
We have clubs, spades, hearts, and diamonds.
No, not how many different suits, but how many actual different cards.
2 through 10, Jack, King, Queen, and Jack, Queen, King, and Ace.
And that's 13. So there are 13 different cards, right? So if we're going to get a pair, we got to pick one out of the 13. Okay? So here it was jacks, right? But there were actually 13 choices. Now, here comes one of the tricky parts. How many ways are there to get a pair of jacks? Okay? So one way, for example, is you could have the jack of clubs and the jack of hearts. What else could you have?
You could have the Jack of clubs and the Jack of spades.
Okay, that's 2 ways.
And the Jack of clubs and the Jack of diamonds. Do the orders matter in this one?
No, the orders don't matter, as long as they're the pair. So there's 3 ways so far. That's all the ways you can pair with the jack of clubs. What else can you pair with now?
The Jack of diamonds and the Jack of...
Okay. The jack of diamonds could get paired with
the Jack of hearts.
the jack of hearts, right? That's 4.
And then the Jack of spades.
And then the jack of spades. So that's all the ways to pair with the jack of diamonds.
But the Jack of hearts doesn't have anybody.
Okay, so there's one last pair. So that's 6. So if you have 4 cards, there's 6 ways to get a pair. So far we have 13. That was the number of different cards times 6 different ways to get the pairs, right? So this is how many different pairs we can have. There's 13 different cards and 6 different pairs for each kind of card.
Just 78.
That's right. So now, what we have to do, we got 3 more cards, right? And we don't want them to be matched.
Good, they aren't.
Okay, so they're not matched. So how many, and we don't want them to be matched with our jacks either. So how many different choices do we have for the first type of card?
The first club.
The first, it could be, in our case with jacks, it could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, queen, king, ace. So how many choices are there for that?
There's 12 choices.
There's 12 choices. That's exactly right. How many choices do we have for the second card? So we can't pick a jack and we can't pick a 10. So how many choices do we have now?
11.
11. Very good.
And then a 10.
And then 10. Now, here's the tricky thing. Here's one other kind of tricky thing. This would be exactly the same hand, right? If I had jack of clubs, jack of diamonds, and I picked 10, king, 7. But it'd be the same also if I picked 10, 7, king, right?
Yeah.
So we have to figure out how many different ways can we arrange these 3 cards. Well, how many different ways do you think we can arrange these 3 cards? The 10 could be first, right? It could be 10, king, 7. Or it could be 10, 7, king, right? That's 2 ways if the 10 is first.
And
what if the 7's first? How many ways are there?
7, 7, 10 king, and 7, 7 king 10.
Very good. And what if the king's first?
King 7, 10, and king 10, 7.
Okay, so how many different ways was that?
That was 6 ways.
Okay, so very good. So now we're almost there to figure out the number of ways we can get these pairs. So first we have to pick the card. In this case, it was a jack. Then we have to pick the number of pairs times 6. Then we have to pick 3 other cards. But there's 6 different ways to arrange these cards, right?
Yeah.
So I got to divide by 6. Okay? Because all of these, this counts each arrangement 6 different times.
Over 6?
Yeah, the whole thing's over 6.
And
Then the 6s will cancel. You're right. Now there's one other thing we got to do. How many ways are there for me to pick a king?
there's 4.
4. How many ways are there to pick a 10?
There's also 4.
How many ways are there to pick a 7?
Also 4.
Times 4. So here we have this really complicated multiplication. 13 times 6 times 12 times 11 times 10 divided by 6 times 4 times 4 times 4. So let me explain what this all means. Are you ready?
Yeah.
13 different ways to get pairs. So in this case we picked jacks. 6 different ways to get a pair once you've decided what you have. Remember there were 6 different ways to pick 2 jacks. Then we have to pick 3 more cards that don't match. So there's 12 times 11 times 10 ways to do that, except there's 6 different ways to arrange them, each one of those ones. So we got to divide by 6. And then we have 4 different ways we can pick the king, 4 different ways we can pick the 10, and 4 different ways we can pick the 7, right? Mm-hmm. So there we go. That's the answer. Whatever this crazy number is the total number of ways.
Can we calculate it?
Yeah, sure. Do you have a calculator nearby? Sorry, I don't know what's going on in the background with our computer. Okay, so here's what we got to compute. You're right, the 6 is canceled. We got to put 13 times 12 times 11 times 10 times, you know what 4 cubed is?
64.
64. So what's 13 times 12?
I can do that.
Yeah, do it on the calculator, it's fine. I hope our computer's not exploding.
156.
156. What's 156 times 11?
$1,716.
Do you know how to multiply that by 10?
Just add a 0.
Just add a 0. So we got 17,160 times 64. Times 64. And then we'll go rescue our computer.
100,000.
What is it?
1098240.
1098240. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay, so that's 1,098,240 different ways you can get a pair.
Whoa.
Tomorrow we'll finish it and we'll figure out what the probability is. We have to figure out how many different 5-card hands there are.
Yeah.
Okay, sound good?
Yeah.
All right.